Alright, so in this video I'm going to be showing you guys how to remove and replace your front brake calipers on this 2009 Honda Accord. So the first thing you're going to want to do is get this thing up in the air with a jack and some jack stands. Don't keep your car on jacks for too long. Always use jack stands when you're doing anything, because you don't know when a jack could give out. So now you want to remove the front wheel, and after you remove that front wheel, you're going to want to use a 12mm socket and start removing the slider pin bolts on the caliper. And these usually they don't take that much effort to remove. And then after that, you want to slide the caliper off. And also, while you're doing that, just make sure that the hose doesn't have tension on it, that the brake line. Make sure that it's in a good place, that it's not hanging loosely, because that carries the fluid to the caliper. And so now what you're going to want to do is remove that little 10mm bolt that hangs it and actually put it in a more secure place if you didn't have it there already. And so after you're done with that part, you're going to want to remove the brake pads. Mine were severely worn, and when I was trying to replace them one time, I couldn't take them off because the caliper needed to be replaced. And so now you're going to want to use a 17mm socket to remove the bolts on the rear of the caliper bracket. This holds the caliper in place. And also, if you didn't already, remove the shims that are on that caliper bracket on the top and bottom that hold the brake pads in, because your new brake pads are going to have new ones. And with that, remove the rotor. Comes off really easily. If you had those screws in it, remove those as well. And so now we're going to be replacing these old calipers with power stop calipers. These are like the in-between brand that you can buy. They're not as high performance, they're not as low performance, but they're in between. So now what you're going to want to do is start the bleeding process of the old brake caliper. I actually kind of did this before, but when I did put the new caliper on, I just wanted to get the old fluid out of the system first before I put the new caliper on, because as you know, a lot of times if you haven't bled your brakes in a long time, there's dirt and debris in your old brake fluid that remain in the lines that need to be pumped out if you ever change your calipers. So that's why I left this old one on before I put the new one on. So just let it drip for a while, until you see like steady consistency of dripping, and then after that you're gonna want to screw that line down, that little nut down tight. And then next thing you're gonna want to do is remove the bolt that holds on your brake fluid line. And so now this is gonna come out very heavily, so remember to turn the caliper upright, as I didn't do here. And as you can see, as it runs out, make sure you have it in an upright position when you're removing it, just so you don't make a mess. And so now what you're going to want to do is replace your rotor, and you're going to want to put the new bracket on while you're doing so. And remember, it's a 17mm bolt that holds it on. So when that's nice and secure, you want to tighten it down and torque it down to the specified amount of torque, just so it's nice and tight and it doesn't come loose on you while you're driving. And after you're done with that, then you want to take the caliper slider pins, and actually before you put this on, you're going to want to put your brake pads on first. And while you're doing that, then you want to put your caliper on. I didn't show it in this video because I lost the video that had that footage in it. And so now you're going to want to tighten these, and sometimes the new bolts might slip a little bit, so I recommend using a 6-point socket. But when you're done, it should look like this. And for the most part, just check and make sure that everything is nice and tight. Check to make sure that little fluid outlet is nice and tight. And when you're done, put a cap over it. And that old hydraulic brake fluid you're gonna want to take that to your local Advanced Auto Parts or wherever oil recycling is available. Take it there, and they'll take care of it for you. And so, as you guys saw in the video before, I did the rear brake calipers, and so now I decided that it was time to do the front. And as you guys can see, it looks pretty good. As you can see, I put the cap on that little thing that lets the fluid out. And so now what you got to do, just put that wheel back on, and put the jack underneath, get rid of that the jack stand, and then you're ready to go. And so, you know, that's basically how you do a front brake caliper on a 2009 Honda Accord, and this goes for the 2008 to 2012, but I was just using a 2009 for demonstration. But if you guys have any questions, drop a comment, leave a like, subscribe if you're interested in learning how to fix cars. And I got more videos coming soon. I think my next video is going to be on how to do motor mounts. So without further ado, you know, you guys have a safe day and stay tuned.